Hello everybody and welcome back to the HTAB YouTube channel, and today you find me back here in the model railway room. And up today, well, we're going back to the 1970s and 80s. And when I say, well, the 1970s and 80s on the British Railway Network, you probably think of like blue and grey coaches, blue locomotives, diesels, new electrics, suburban railways, things like that, that were just, well, better. And up today, I've got another review for you, and it is of something insanely modern at the time. It is this, an air-conditioned Mark II coach made by Airfix Railway System. Obviously it's in O gauge. This is an air-conditioned coach, so it's like it was my first air-conditioned coach in the model railway world. And if I'm not mistaken, it's one of the first air-conditioned coaches on the railway network, built back in the 1970s. And for its time, in model form and in real life, it was very modern and very advanced. So advanced, in fact, that like rail tour companies such as West Coast Railways, Locomotive Services Group, and Reserve Railways still use these coaches today for their main line tours. Simply because they've got air conditioning, they're modern, they're comfortable, and they've got central door locking, meaning the coaches can be locked individually and not risk people sort of going oopsie doopsie like the Jacobite did on the West Highland line with the Mark I's. Very advanced, very modern, and this model, the Airfix Railways one, was, again, very advanced and very modern for its time. It's probably, over 30 years old, this model now. It's definitely, it says here, in fact, Airfix Product Limited at 1975, made in Hong Kong. So this model is from that era, so it's from the 1970s. And genuinely, as I take it out of the box and, show you up close and get it out and, test it on the railway, you'll get to see that. So, with that said, let's take it down there, unbox it, and I'll show you what I mean. Right, so you now find me down here on the floor where the Airfix air-conditioned Mark II sits. Taking a look at the end of the box, it says, what does it say in fact? First class intercity open coach Mark II, BR blue livery, because that's the colour scheme it's in. The rest of the box is fairly simple, just with the Airfix Railway System O gauge logo all over the box. And on the back of the box, as it says, made in Hong Kong, Airfix Products Limited, 1975. The right is reserved to improve and amend specification and colours, suggesting that it is a fully licensed model. That's the box. I paid £12 for this at a exhibition, the Caithness model show in 2022, wasn't it? Yeah, the first time I actually showed there, no, 2023. The first time I actually showed there at the model show with my model bosses and stuff, and hopefully we'll be there again in 2025 this year in April, so there's a link in the description box below to the Caithness Model Club Facebook group. Take a look. I post my photos on there, and it's very knowledgeable, if you will, and it also provides information on when the Caithness Model Show is on. So I'll stop ranting on. We'll actually crack into the box and see what this consists of, if you will. So the box is a little bit beat up, seeing as it's from the 1970s, and the model inside though isn't. So box design is fairly cheap and nasty, but again, of its time, it was probably insanely advanced. Don't know if there'll be any horrible noise. Shouldn't be. Wasn't too bad, and the plastic off the front has just come out, so the window is just there. I like how the Airfix logo is just perfectly rounded into the cardboard, but we don't care about that. We also don't care about that. What we do care about, however, is the model that's inside here. There's no paperwork or anything on the model, so it does just come out of this, what would I call it? Egg box, so to speak. And here's the model in question. And when I say it's advanced for its time, I genuinely mean it. This is again, comparable to a modern coach. Okay, the details not up to modern standard, but look, flush windows. That's a first, isn't it? Look, windows that are flush with the outside of the model. Intercity livery looking fantastic on this model. But before we take a look at it up close, I'll provide you a little bit of information on the air-conditioned Mark IIs. There really isn't much to say about the Mark II D&E coaches, apart from they had an air conditioning system that was effectively added to the earlier pressure ventilated systems for the previous designs. Also, the coaches had large seats. Some had Mark III style seats that were big and comfortable, which was the next coach from this one, the Mark III. And also they had a toilet at each end of the coach. Some versions of this, like the Mark IIF, only had one toilet, but the Mark IID and E coaches, like the one I've got, has toilets at both ends on the same side. Right then, so here we are, down on the ground, up close and personal with the air-conditioned Mark II by Airfix. And like I say with most models so far that I've reviewed, doesn't it look great? Look how advanced it is for the time. From the 1970s, it was first released, like, man, this is fantastic. Like, Hornby coaches from that time were, well, they were okay, but they were chunky, they were not detailed, and this is like a far cry from that. It's like basically a luxury, expensive product compared to the likes of that. So, we'll make our way around the model, we'll take a look at some of the detail, and I'll show you it even closer. So then, starting at one of the ends of the coach then, you really get to see that level of, well, old detail, if you will, because, like, obviously, models have progressed over the years. This is quite an early model, really, in the grand scheme of things, and it's, like, early in terms of detail, but for its time, as I've said already, it's very advanced. So, starting here then, again, the livery is something to pick out on, because look how nice it looks. Printing on there, very nicely done, the Intercity and the obviously first class thing represented here as well, with the yellow band running the whole way along the coach. Very nice, and there's only a slight bit of bleeding between the blue and the grey there on the coach. Also here there's a little toilet that's been blanked out. The flush glazing has just been done out in white there, so obviously you can't see a man taking a poo. Basically what a toilet is. Don't want to do that in model form, but you could do what you want, it's a model railway, but I don't want to see that running around my railway, but whatever. Made that weird, didn't I? And to the left of that, there's one of these doors. Obviously in real life the window would go down like that, but again that's nice and flush with the outside of the door. Looks very well done indeed. There's some moulded little handrails here, you can't really see them, they've not been picked out or anything, but again, for its time, you wouldn't expect that. Also, there's a little step there moulded onto the bottom of the door, that's nicely done, nice and fine looking, as well as other things like vents above the door, and general detail around, such as on the bogies, which is brown. That's interesting. Never seen brown looking bogies before, they're usually black, but I guess it's just the colour of the plastic, and would they be brown in real life? Not too sure. I'm sure you'll see some photos somewhere in like the history of this, but whatever. Also, I was looking here, the buffers are brown, but we'll take a look at them when we go down to the end of the coach. Continuing further down the coach, then you see those amazing flush windows. They look fantastic, very comparable to the Oxford Rail Mark III I reviewed in ScotRail over ages ago. Looks very similar to that in terms of like the actual build of the coach, but I guess the Mark III is just a development of this really, so it is going to look similar. Inside, I was just going to point this out, there is actually a fully detailed interior with tables and, well, more brown seats representing on the chassis too. I presume it's just the same piece of plastic that's, well, all moulded at the same time, but it looks good. And on the underframe and chassis itself, there is some detail down there. As you can see, we've got these box things, we've got tanks and pipes and stuff like that. Just nice added detail. But then on the one of those bogies there, which has got the springs and more detail and more thingy-majiggies, whatever you want to call them, but the detail is there. And showing you the other end of the model then, more of that amazing printing, which is legible, is on show with the E3170 like running number there, and another one of those first class things seen to the right underneath the door. Also, there is a slight difference at this end. Above the toilet, there's another vent thing here. I presume that's something to do with the air conditioning pod, which is on top, but I'll show you that when I show you the roof in a minute. Showing you one of the ends of the model then, you get to see more little bits of moulded detail. That's nice and fine. It's all just in blue. It's just the same piece as the coach itself. It's not been picked out or anything, but then again, it is an old model, so I'll just, well, I can get away with it. It's there. That's the main thing. Also here, there's a gangway thing there, that's nicely done, slightly different to the ones on my other Mark IIs, which aren't air-conditioned Mark IIs, they're just standard ones, so it's a nice little bit of detail with the door there as well, modelled nicely. And underneath that there is some buffers, but those aren't actually sprung, they're just, well, just there, and they're brown, as I mentioned a minute ago, interesting choice of colour. And underneath that there is a large coupling, which is compatible with, well, most other rolling stock with large couplings. Also you can run it with NEM pockets, you just have to risk derailments. And as I promised a minute ago, here's the roof. There's the air conditioning pod at this end, and obviously on the other end there isn't one of those because like it's only got air conditioning pods at one end, which is realistic of its well, real life counterpart. And then there's these little nib things. There's 4 of those, one at each end. And on the other end there is a slight difference to this actually, because there's obviously no air conditioning pod, but there's a little sort of, what's it called? What would you call it? A dot thing And obviously along the top of the coach is the lining for the roof, which is done quite nicely. And I'll finally show you the base of the model then. There's more of that little bits of detail on offer here, that's nice and done. Obviously it's all just picked out in the brown colour, which is fine, it's there, that's good. And on this model there is just metal wheels, as you can see, but they're nice and free rolling, as we'll do a performance test in a little while to see how well they work. And I've got a feeling it might be quite good. So, before then though, I'll just tell you my little thoughts about the detail, and generally, well, it's good. I like it. It's very, like I said at the start, very advanced for its time, and definitely on par with some modern coaches from the likes of Hornby, Bachmann and Oxford Rail. So, now then, we'll take it onto the railway and we'll do a little bit of performance testing, see the coupling, see how well it goes over points, and, well, obviously do the free rolling test. I said that as well, didn't I? Before running it round with an accurately themed train. Right then, the Airfix Mark II is here on the track, and, well, yeah, already, I put it down here, right on this middle line, and it did roll. It started rolling away. I'm just trying to get it to do it again, but, well, oh, there you go, it moved itself, right, you saw that, didn't you, with your very own eyes. Anyway, that proves the point that this model is free rolling, despite its plastic wheels, but in a minute we'll put it on the hill at the other side of the railway and see how far it gets. For now, we're going to take it across the point with the 25, which is just to the right of the shot, so that should be coming in any moment now. We'll see if it derails, and I've got a funny feeling it won't. So, we'll bring in the 25, and that has coupled perfectly well, despite the couplings being slightly different, because this one's got like NEM style couplings, and this one's got the large, what would I call it, D-type coupling. I think that's what it's known as in the Lima and Hornby world. Whatever you call it, it coupled fine. So, we'll take it out of shot. Obviously the 25, I'm just using that now because it's like one of my best locomotives. And where are we going to take it? Well, we'll take it across these points here, so as my arm appears in the shot. We'll see how well it performs as it makes its way across the junction. Yeah, completely fine so far. Also, there isn't like any fear of buffer locking here because, like, well, the buffers are like that far away from the locomotive, so that's fine. We'll go that speed in reverse, hopefully it doesn't derail, but if it does, it's content. And did the front wheel come off there? I didn't actually have my eye on the ball, so to speak. I think it did. Right, we'll see if we can catch that again. Yes, it did. So the, if I just bring it back here, this wheel here, the one closest to the tanks there, did come off on the frog of the point there, but I think that's just because I was zooming it across the point at a high speed. But if we take it wrong way, if we take it out of shot and we go across the junction, we'll see how it performs on this front. Right, let's go across. Well, that went well. The locomotive decided it would come off the track, but the coach magically has stayed on and it's sort of gone miles out of shot. Let me just bring that back in. There you go. And again, oh, for Pete's sake. How's the 25 letting me down? I thought you were reliable. Right, there we go. Oops. Right, let's just keep dragging. Yes. The coach derailed, guys, but I think it was 100% a fault of my own. Why, as soon as I get the camera out, does everything go, well, pear-shaped, basically? With the correct locomotive, it will be fine, I'm pretty sure. Right. See if we can get a successful run the other way without the painful 25 deciding it didn't want to be on the track. Which coincidentally made the coach fall off, but as you can see, the coach is going across smoothly. And the 25 does now as well, which is very nice to see. Right, if I take it back this way, we'll do a bit of performance testing with the coach and free rolling, and we'll see how well it goes down the hill. So as I've said many times before, this part of the railway leading up towards Wick Station is on a slight incline. So this is where I do my rolling stock test. Yeah, that's fine. Right, so the Mark II, the derailing Mark II, which was purely the 25 fault, so performance seems fine, is about to arrive into the shop. So we'll just reach over and try not to break my back. Wouldn't be very good. That would be slightly more, what's the word? Difficult to film a video if I had a broken back. Sure, derailment's fine, but it's already going forward, so we'll just give it a little bit of upwards and. Okay, right, there we go, it's moving. All on its own. A ghost train. That was cool, wasn't it? It sort of just slowed down there and then just came forward again, so we'll go up again. Give it a bit more momentum, and is it going? Is it going? Is it going? Here it comes. I'll never get bored of that. It's pretty fun, really. I love doing that. All the way at the top. There we go, look at that. Oh, maybe. Can we improve our score from before? Ever so slightly, we did. So on that front, the free rolling test seems to have passed. It's done very good at that. Did better than the test coach Mercury or whatever it was from before. But indeed, it's well on that front. So for now, we'll couple it up to a train, we'll test the couplings, and we'll get it running around the railway before I share with my final thoughts at the end. Right then, so I'll actually try it with the same type of coupling now. Probably it was derailing a minute ago because the 25 had a smaller coupling. That's probably the reason, but whatever, we'll try it again. So the locomotive that I'll be using for this is also quite appropriate for this coach, but we'll bring it in. And perfectly well, it has coupled. So the locomotive of choice for this little running session, so to speak, and looking performance-esque test, just making it look nice as it goes around the railway really, is a Class 55 Deltic. This coach, having an Eastern Region number, means that it probably would have ran with a Deltic on the main line. So the train we've got for it is this. Some Lima Mark IIs, a Buffet Lima Mark 1, another Lima Mark 1 first class coach, and a brake coach at the end. Right, let's watch it go round. That, my friends, was quite possibly the best running session I've ever had. Performing perfectly, nothing derailed, nothing went wrong, and I believe it's all down to this, the wonderful Airfix Mark II air conditioner coach. what a piece of rolling stock. Like, I'm quite literally speechless at how good it performs and how well it looks. It just, I know I say this often, it's at home here. This is just the train that it's meant to be with. It's like the 1970s has come to my room. Deltic, Eastern Region coach, Mark II's, Boffy coach. Oh, it's just basically a London to York train in, well, 1975, I suppose. And the coach itself is just marvellous. It looks great, it performs great. All rounds, just a piece of, well, what's the word? What would I say? A piece of art. Is it artwork? It's close to it. It looks great, it performs well, it's got great amounts of detail, it's advanced for its time. Mind-blowing. Just an amazing feat of engineering, even in model railway scale. Like, I don't know what to say because it's just so good, and trying to express the words about it is just, well, basically almost near to impossible. So I think I'll just leave it there. You've seen it running, it was blasting around the railway, making some right racket in the room, echoing everywhere, like sounded like a real train had just appeared. And also showing the 1970s and 80s in the background. I hope I reflected that in some of the shots that I filmed. It was quite fun filming them, really just going to slightly different areas that you might not have seen on the railway before, like near the coal yard there, coming past. Amazing. So then, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, make sure you like, subscribe and comment. And if I find any versions of this coach like online anywhere, there's a link in the description box below where you can check them out, and maybe I would highly recommend it. Purchase one yourself. Could I be like telling you to purchase something? Maybe I could. And if you don't purchase it, you're very, very naughty. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just like tired after this review, really. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.